this is a makeup show because the holidays did everyone wrong. In fact, I recorded a video earlier and I realized I had that open because it's snowing outside. I wanted to look at it, but then I did the video and I'm like, oh, mild bit of light in a weird way. People are gonna find it distracting, make all those comments, say nasty things about me, that kind of thing. Anyways, so this is a makeup show. Holidays threw it off, and we have a big show. It was a huge show for the 1,000 plus. There was a total of 35 people last week. So I'm going to try to get this done, and then from this week going forward, try to get a little bit more regular on the Wednesday and Thursday schedule. It might be the case that we get so many graduates, it's overwhelming because we have a lot of people just joining the program now, which is great. At a certain point, I can't. It's too much. I can't mentally take the load. All right, we're going to begin with Soul Driver. What does Soul Driver say? Training program has been great. Really enjoyed the structure. And the platform has been very motivated as I'm always looking to log more time. Looking forward to more in 25. Great. Actually, let me get rid of a lot of these windows. Oh, shit. Criminy. Oh, I really blew it. All right, Cry. You really blew it this time. Get rid of the proper windows, Cry. Jeez, Melise. All right, here we go. Again, Soul Driver, open. And you can see that Soul Driver here is crushing it. Join the program, and every day has been doing it. Now, one of the things I just want to point out that's super cool, we now have a graduation badge that we're throwing in there. Super cool. We're going to try to highlight that a little bit more so it stands out. Like if you didn't know what you were looking at, you might not see it, so man, make it a little bigger, something like that. So S. Bastoon, cool that you're here. And as you can see, Soul Driver has been crushing it. Even did some checkmate tests, and he wailed on those. So that's super cool. All right, clubs, nothing. Activity, a bunch. Games, nothing. Well, Soul Driver, welcome to the dojo. And one of your first tasks that I would like to see from you next time, because I'm sure you're going to graduate again soon, is to annotate a game. Okay, here we go. Boom. Next up is what a salute. I don't know what a salute is. What a salute. And salute has graduated before, 415. Not too active, doing a lot of tactics. Yeah, had an epic fail on the first checkmate tests and was just like, I've had enough of these dumb tests, Cry. I've had enough. But these ones look okay. Clubs. Oh, he's in the Baltimore, dude. Welcome to the dojo. Yeah, welcome to the Baltimore dojo. I ran into, I was just shopping the other day, and this person I had never seen before, this tall, young kid, and it wasn't a kid, probably in his 20s, but, where I am, that's a kid. And he's like, hi, Jesse. And I was like, hi. I didn't know. And I felt like, I should have engaged him anyway. So if I see you out there, Baltimore, I might not know what's going on. You take me by surprise. You got to say, hey, I'm at the dojo or something. Otherwise, you're just throwing me for a loop. All right, here we go. Activities. We got a lot of tactics being done. Maybe no games. Nothing. Okay. Well, what a salute. Get some games going on. Great that you're doing some tactics. Maybe we'll just take a look at the tactics you've done. Everyone's first chess workbook. Great start. Cool Hand 001 is next. And Cool Hand says, he doesn't have to say a lot. Let's see, he joined the dojo last month. Graduated. Yeah, he's doing fine. We'll give him a follow. And PR, Puzzle Rush 5 Minute looks fine. Let's see clubs. Nothing. Games. Oh, well, maybe my job is going to be a little easier today. Just a little. We still have a long show today. All right, Cool Hand. We would like to see some games from you. Also, tell us something about yourself. Next up, we have Draco Magi. Draco also joined fairly recently. No, I take it back. Joined last year, but then was only started using the scoreboard fairly recent. And dude is in the wrong cohort. Draco Magi, you are in the wrong cohort, son. So I'm going to give you a follow, but get yourself in the right cohort. Yeah, get yourself in the right cohort. So next up, Roger. What does Roger got to say? First of all, I got to make sure when there's when that's highlighted, then that means they're saying something over here. Let's follow Roger. Joined just last month. A lot of people just joining now. Actually, I would say in terms of growth, the dojo has seen the most growth in the last couple weeks since we did the promo. Even before that, it was kind of cruising. In the summer, we had a big lull. Like, it was this amazing thing where it's disheartening. For me, summer's always been about chess, but in the summer, it was like, it was just static. Static. All right, here we go. One tactics test, 725. I suspect your survival would be higher than that if you did it more than once. All right, so clubs. The virtual reality dojo. Now, let me just say, if you're watching this, there is already a VR club at the dojo. And one thing that I think is confusing is, like, whoever created this might not have known that there was another club out there with the virtual reality. Valkyra, is this a stealth stream? It's just a stream that I had to do because I was unable to do it correctamundo last week. Okay, so this is looking good. We want to see more over here, but you just joined. And we got some this here. We got some games, and It Depends is their name. I was going to say in real life, but it's not really in real life. Here's the time graph. Let's show that. As is typical for this show, we usually yell at people for not using enough time, and we certainly see that that's the case here. So both players would make better moves if they thought longer on them. All right, let's get into it. So, H6, poor. Why do they do it? To deal with knight G5. Yeah, well, wonderful notes. It depends. Of course. Now you have a nice lead in development. I like this move a lot. This move is enabled by my lead in development. Absolutely, 100%. And now you play D5. I'm going to go ahead and say this is a mild mistake. You use 12 seconds on this move. And what I want you to see, first of all, when you play D5, yes, you knock the knight. Yes, you get some space advantage. But the bishop is now toast. Further, one of the things very important will lead you up to the 1,000 barrier is looking for stuff that's hanging. And so for me, I'm seeing stuff that's hanging. So here, 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 and if he takes with this guy, we take this coconut. If he takes with this guy, we take that coconut. Well, thank you very much. Okay, poor move, you're right. We win a pawn. And you develop. Poor. Now notice, one of the things that you are going to face, everyone's going to face at this level, is chumps who are just trying to make a threat. They're not really doing anything. And so in this case, it's like this dream black's got a mate in you or something. You know? H3. I agree, a waste of time and probably just castles. Right? So, boom. Now that I don't like. So, he is not actually threatening your bishop. Okay? Muy importante. So, that's unnecessary. Weird. Now, as we said, you're going to face these chumps, and they're not thinking about, oh, I need to bring these guys out, right? No, they're just making some madness over there. Good. You like defending your pawns with your bishop. I would have moved that guy back. Good move. Okay. Okay, I like that move a lot, even though you're hanging your h3 pawn. Because if they take the pawn, I think you're going to whack him with e5. That's at least my gut. Okay, poor move. And now it's time to whack him. It's definitely time to whack him. Open it up. This is what they get when they don't develop their coconuts. Good move. Bishop g4 was poor. He could have played. Rook takes h4. You got bishop g5. Okay. So that didn't help him. That didn't help him. Notice, so these people, they're not developing their coconuts. Now, bishop g5. When you don't like a move, tell us what you think you should do. So, for example, maybe bishop g3, maybe rook h1. These are the things that make some sense to me. Okay, I think you're right. f6 would have been a problem. Rook h1, I think that's reasonable. And now boss, he tricked you. You just take it. You just take it. Thank you very much. Now, let me say, the biggest lesson in this game for you should be, oh, I would have seen stuff if I had moved slower. Look at this. You just take the bishop. Take your time. Sicilian King, is there lime with that coconut? There's sometimes some lines. There's sometimes some lines. So here we go. Oh, we just hung that coconut. And look, you could still take the bishop on f5. You could still take it. Oh, no. Now, this guy, not thinking about their coconuts. Now, take one of those coconuts. Thank you. Let's take another one. Thank you. Oh, that's not nice. That's not nice. Now, let's rook b1 him. Yeah, buddy. Now, when they don't develop their coconuts and they go on a shopping spree with the queen, in fact, I just coined that phrase and I really like it. When they go on the shopping spree with the queen, that's when they get nailed like this. Whatever. FG looks good. I want you to slow it down a little bit, even now. I don't know. No one knows what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. Simple chess. You're just killing him. I like queen h8 there. Queen h8 stuff. Fine. 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 Mate. Very good. Mate. Okay, it depends. Great. And again, the lesson here is you're going to place a lot of people who don't develop their pieces. That's going to be the majority of your opponents. We're going to take advantage of it. You're going to play a majority of people who move too fast, and you do not want to be one of them. Okay? So the path for progress there, you can see it's pretty attainable. It'll be harder later, but right now, take their tempo that they give you. Look for the free stuff that they will give you. All right. Well done. Oh, and I need to mark this as reviewed. Pop. We go on to Gabriel. What does Gabriel got to say? Oh, Kraai, fix that, please. Let's give Gabriel a follow. This is our beautiful thing. As you can see, we need to highlight this this beautiful new badge we got here, just so that people can see it. And Gabriel is in the wrong cohort. A lot of times people join the dojo or something, and they're like, I want to start at the bottom. No, start with where your rating is. It will not help you to go at the bottom, and it's not fair to the people in your cohort because you're going to be beating them up over the head when you do sparring or analysis with them. Okay? Okay. So that's Gabriel. Next up, we got Nubaras. Nubaras says, Sicilian King, I have a serious question if you don't mind. Well, ask your question. I have a serious case of spindrift right here. I'm going to pop me this brewski, and I'll take any questions there. All right. I'm still relatively new to the dojo and not quite sure when to actually graduate, when your rating is above the limit. It's not easy to compare my Lichess ratings with the normalized rating used by the dojo. It is because we have a translation between those things. But the rest of the tasks in this cohort are too simple for me, so I think it's time to move up. Excited to continue my training in a new cohort after the holidays. All right, new Pruess, let's go check out what you're talking about here. Okay, first of all, new Pruess, beautiful beautiful heat map. Now, check this out. See what it does here? That's your Lichess, and that's your rating for the dojo. That's what normalized means. What is it? We have all these different rating systems. Chess.com, Lichess, US chess, German chess, Dutch chess. And so we have to create a universal system, and that's what we've done. And your business will always show it here. Right? It'll always show what's going on. And I think you should graduate into the 12 to 1300 category. That's why, that's why it might seem too simple of the things you've done, right? Okay, we're gonna give you a follow. I'll probably see you soon because you'll graduate into the 12 to 1300 cohort. Sicilian King asks, what do you think about implementing the imbalances from Jeremy Silman? Well, I think I have read How to Reassess Your Chess, which is kind of his Bible. And I have a different, his imbalances are a little bit different than the way other people write them out, because I think he's got too many. But it's ultimately the same thing. So, for example, people like me like to keep it simple when we talk about material, time, and quality of position. And he wants to divide up quality of position into a bunch of different things like king safety. Fine. It's just a little bit too much for an old man's brain to deal with, you know. But in general, it's fine. And I like Reassess Your Chess a lot. It's in our training program. Okay, let's go back. Boom. Next up, we have Noah Manor. Noah writes, watching that development video helped me think differently about how to improve my pieces in the middle game, which allowed me to find better moves and go on a 5-0 streak to reach 1050. Great, let's go take a look at what's going on here. So there's 1050. And there you see, Noah's using a correctamundo. So 1050 on Chess.com equals about 811 in our normalized system. Dude has graduated twice. Hasn't done any tests. No, he's been out at the dojo for a while, just hasn't been logging too much stuff. Let's see if we got dojo points. No. All right, clubs, games, nothing. So Noah, we want some games from you, most important, but also, you know, maybe as a New Year's resolution, but we'll get some stuff going on over here. Yeah. Okay, so, zoop. Next up, we have Royal Chess Fan. I started on the Polgar book as was suggested, and it really helped me calculate better. Beautiful. Let's go over here. Royal Chess Fan. And Royal Chess Fan, you are in the wrong cohort. Let's see what's going on here. Joined in November. And so what happened, right, is maybe just because you were around this, you were like, oh, I'm in the 900 to 1,000. Now you're 770. I hope this isn't too confusing for people, you know, and maybe we should even call it the universal rating, dojo rating, maybe dojo rating, you know, just so people are clear on what we're talking about here. But you understand, we do have to create a universal system to translate between all of these other ones. All right, so Royal, hopefully maybe you can graduate into the 700 to 800 category. All right, Pop. Oh, this is going quicker than I thought today. Next up, we have Rodane. Rodane doesn't say anything. Let's see what's going on. And Rodane is wrong cohort. It's really a bad day today. It's a really bad day. Yeah. Well, maybe, you know, I'm concerned, actually. It's been a great tradition of the dojo that I've been able to cover all these games and profiles through the years. And I am concerned we're growing so fast. Maybe, I don't know, have to come up with a new way to do it, But if somebody doesn't do the right graduation or they don't have a game, it's fine with me. Fine with me, because a lot of times it'll be too much. Now, our next person, Heir Apparent, is famous in the dojo. She usually has something to say here, but this time she doesn't. Let's go check out Heir Apparent. So, has graduated several times. And actually let's pop out on the heat map for a second. Bang! And let's go heat map. So this is like the full, basically, year of the heat map. And Heir Apparent, I think was active. One of the reasons I clicked on it was this was kind of empty. And I remembered that Heir Apparent was working a lot more earlier. And maybe she was just like doing other things in life or I don't know. But she did graduate. Let's see if we go hours worked, if that changes. No, it's just dojo points. Okay, so pop that out of there. We'll go grad show. Clubs. No clubs. I kind of feel that Heir Apparent had a description earlier, or maybe just on the last graduation she wrote something. And here too, this is an ancient game. So I think what happened was Heir Apparent graduated, but then she graduated now, but it's like she had the achievement and she came back to the dojo. She had lost the dojo way, but still graduated without the dojo because the dojo had given her the foundation. That's right. Why is Ben talking? Hello. Sicilian King says, I hear nothing about good things from you from Ben Johnson on the Perpetual Chess Podcast. Well, me and Ben are I don't know if we're old friends. I've known Ben for a while. Yeah. Okay, back to the front here. So don't take it with a grain of salt. That guy's a friend of mine, friend of the dojo. He's just saying nice things to be nice. Kennedy's Frilla joined beginning of last year and been bouncing all around. Let's give him a follow. Now, this is a little bit confusing because they haven't been logging any of their business. And one of the things that's interesting to kind of watch is the dojo began really, it didn't begin as a training program. We had all kinds of things even before we had the training program, but the site began as a training program, and the site is evolving into other things, right? It's essentially a database for games, for you to put your own games in. We have a tactics server. We have all these clubs going on. We have tournaments. And so it might be that we get more of this kind of situation where somebody is like part of the dojo, but they're not doing the training program. But they're playing and they're doing their own thing. We just have no idea, right? Like I have a feeling no games, right? So we might see this kind of graduation more often. Well, we'll see. I'll just keep an eye on that. Now, Ultra Slarkin, I know, is quite active. Let's take a look. This is the famous Ultra Slarkin. And problems on Jitsi, or postmortems on Jitsi. I don't even know what Jitsi is. But let's look around here. All right, so it's done a little bit of work. I remember Ultra Slarkin being more active. He's just graduated. He has graduated several times before. Let's see if I expand it out. Oh, yeah, there we go. So here we can see, I got a little heat map button here, that Ultra Slarkin, like Heir Apparent, well, kind of took a break there in the summer. Remember what I was saying? The summer was like a time in the dojo. Not much was going on, and now it's really picking up. Okay. But anyways, that's a beautiful heat map right there. Oh, excuse me, I've got to hit this button. And let's see what's going on here. Clubs, Indiana, no stress. Okay, great. Games. Actually, let's go activity real quick. So how did they make it to, we just want, oh, criminy. So how did they make it? They did 22 points of work. Oh, well, that's pretty easy. This one easy. When I see somebody who makes it with only 22 points of work, that suggests to me that maybe the next cohort will be hard or the one after that, but they're still basically in that growth phase where they'll probably go up fairly quickly. Okay, how many bait and twos? 425. Okay, great. Now let's see if Ultra Slarkin's got a game for us. We got a couple. This one's fairly recent. Let's give it a click. We haven't had too many games on this show today. We got some. Oh, look at that, buddy. Look at that. So this is a 1 hour plus 10 seconds. And let's say some obvious things. You're playing this chump and they're not thinking. And it's hard to play. I think it's very difficult for people in the dojo to play these chumps who aren't thinking, because they're moving instantly and you're just like, oh, can't get no rhythm. It's hard to even take this person seriously. They're moving so fast. And then we will sometimes move too fast ourselves in response. And so again. All right, my friends, we are back. Now, do I understand what happened? No. The internet went out. Was it because of the storm here? I don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you why the thing went out, dude. I couldn't tell you. Why is Ben talking? Said clap on. Falgras. Oh, it says Jesse's internet are down. I'm sorry about that, my friends. I don't know. I am not, my internet rating, even though I got the Stream Deck and I went from like a 400 to about a 700, it's still not all there for me in internet stuff, internet, streaming, whatever. But did I figure out? No, but I made it work again. I didn't figure out, but I made it work again. All right, we were talking about Ultra Slarkin. And, I don't think I had read this, so I'm going to read this. I had several months away from chess, relocating my family across the country. However, I have been doing a lot of chess work recently, even though my heat map does not reflect it. I actually find a lot of fatigue in logging my activities. Also, my Lichess Classical plummeted earlier this year after a bad season in 45 plus 45. Also, the ratings rebalancing moved me down in cohorts significantly. So a lot of the activities in my training program do not seem worthwhile. For example, I've done Polgar mates in 2 through problem 426, but my training plan still suggests I do mate in 1s. I just started playing OTB recently after settling down and feel I am underrated in USCF, but this takes a while to improve. Please review my OTB against Snot-Nosed Kid. Okay, we can do that. Now, let's click on Ultra Slarkin here. Thank you, Cross Online. I don't know what happened, but so here we were when the internet went down, and we had talked about the clubs and stuff, and we were looking at the activity, and we had seen, he was, we were looking at his heat map, right, as the whole thing collapsed. And he wants us to look at Snot-Nosed Kid. So there it is, Snot-Nosed Kid. That's a great name. All right, let's click on Snot-Nosed Kid. Now, by the way, so a 12-year-old kid. Oh, actually, let me go back. I know I just said I was going to do this correctamundo, but I want to look. So the ratings, he's at 1002 Lichess, and he says his USCF is under. Now, what we're going to kind of look at is Ultra Slarkin having tactical grief? That's what this tactics test seems to suggest. Maybe also this. I have full sympathy with what he's saying about the rating shift that happened. And we are definitely going to take a look at that in Dojo 4.0. Basically, we try to reserve all questions of material for one time a year because we really don't want to do it piecemeal. We want to attack it in a really kind of coherent global way. So that's one of the things we're gonna be looking at. And what he's talking about is the FIDE rating shift, which shifted everybody all around. Okay. Yes, there's nothing wrong with the maiden ones. All right, so now, games. We're gonna go Snot-Nosed Kid. Bang. First of all, time graph. Let's click on that. As we see, Snot-Nosed Kid moving too fast. Par for the course, right? Okay, and this is OTB. Actually, I want to say props for the 12-year-old kid that is very ill. The parents definitely shouldn't have brought him. That's the worst, dude. I thought at first it was going to be like someone's online name called Snot-Nosed Kid. No, this is literally a Snot-Nosed Kid. Okay, so game review. That's the worst playing those kids, dude. Oh, man. All right, here we go. So, fine. At this level, fine. Now, I think e6 is best to cut the scope of that bishop. Snot-Nosed Kid plays g6. Interesting. You got many moves you could do here. Fine. 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 Now, at a higher level, the issue with this move order would be knight e4, followed by d5. That position, though, might be equal, but it's not a big problem for you. So d6. Now, we got to say, it doesn't lose time. Very typical thing for the person doing this setup. They got to make a pawn move to get the bishop on c8. This is a very typical setup. And you played h3. I don't think that's incorrect in Mundo. You could play f3 too. e5, poor move. Because now Snot-Nosed Kid is giving you this square and blocking the bishop. Okay. You point out that knight db5 looks good. Looks good to me. Looks like you're winning some coconuts. So, this is a key moment where he's making both a tactical and strategic error, right? Okay, so knight f3, question mark, a6. Okay, now we want a good move. Knight d5. This hangs e4, but I thought bishop b6 would give me enough counterplay. Now, it is true that knight takes e4 is a very frisky move. I don't like it because you're allowing black to trade on d5. There's a variety of other moves you could play. The simplest in my head is queen d2 followed by rook d1. Let's gain a tempo on this pawn. Queen d2 also a developing move. Rook a d1, a developing move. Okay, knight d5, moving a developed piece twice. Knight e4, very frisky to take on e4. So what I want you to see is maybe he can get away with this. Maybe he shouldn't be able to. But more importantly, you're moving a developed piece twice. Bishop b6, and now the kid commits positional murder with queen d7. And now you play b4 after thinking 1 minute. Now, let me stress something. Of course you should have thought longer here. This is a critical position. Black's all tied up. What are they going to do? They don't know. They don't know what they're going to do. They have no idea. Let's read what you write. I thought I was somehow going to win the e4 knight with my next move, but neglected to see the f6 escape square. Okay, so this is what we mean by grip. Right? With grip, what we're talking about is the ability to see the squares. Right? We want to see the squares. And here you're not seeing the f6 square. Plus, there's a variety of things they could do to get the knight out. Because b4, it doesn't help your position beyond this mythical, magical thing you're doing with controlling c5. Now, something I want to stress is this isn't an easy position for me either. I do think you have good compensation, but let me stress, it's not an easy situation for me to just say, oh, I know what's happening here. Frankly, the knight's going to go back to f6, I think, no matter what. And we are then going to want to have some kind of coconut touch on him when he goes back. Right? Okay, so just off the top of my head, a good developing move would be queen d3, knight f6, rook a d1. Now, on e4, we can do an intermezzo and then take the pawn. And then here we can take, and it looks like we're winning this coconut. Right? Looks good. Looks good. Okay. So b4. A key way for you to improve your chess, even if you are not, let me just say this thing about the grip, right? That takes time to develop. That takes time. And you be gentle with yourself because you and your opponents are still going to be hanging the pieces. However, it's much easier to stop hanging tempi, right? And so you hung a tempo with knight d5, and now you're hanging another with b4. That's something you can get religious about. All right, knight f6, reasonable move. Rook e1, and now you're going to hang the b pawn. e4. And again, I mean, if they didn't have e4, they would also have knight takes b4. I think this is a little frisky for black to be taking this thing because he's still all tied down. Knight e7. Okay, key position for us. And you play bishop b3. This is hot. He plays d5. Okay. Rook e7. Don't like it. Stockfish says knight e5. Now, the thing to see about knight e5 is he's got ideas of maybe knight g4 and all this other fancy stuff. Yeah. But this, I want you to see, you're just trading off, not only are you trading off stuff, but you are going to be breaking up the bind. I just did a video recorded about Fischer and the bind. He likes to talk about the bind. And so this is actually a good example of a bind. Now, is it easy to evaluate necessarily? No, but you have a bind. After this, you allow the bind to be broken, right? Okay, queen d6. Queen d4 looks reasonable. This is just trading off your coconuts. Reasonable move. And now we have a lost ending. Okay. Good move. Now, at this level, we shouldn't be like losing immediately. So what I want you to see here is that this move, c5, does lose immediately. And so if you had not played c5, against a GM, you're going to lose anyway. But against this guy, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to lose immediately. As long as you don't hang the coconut, right? Yeah. Okay. So, Ultra Slarkin. Let's go. Actually, I want to address something you said, too. So now you're in 900 to 1,000. We're going to flick this. We'll go training plan. And you are allowed to do the mate in twos. So it's not like you can't do the mate in twos. Yeah. Training plan. Let's go back again. So that's fine. That's correctamundo. Now, if we did, if we go 800, 900, just look at the 800, 900 tactics. You did some mate in twos, and you did it, and you finished it. So that's great. That's great. Okay, so well done. I think I forgot to mark this as, I did mark it as reviewed. Okay, so main thing I just want to stress, that was the main thing. But yeah, if we'd moved a little slower, and the things like the mate in twos are what you are going to need to stop hanging squares. And easier, as I said, to learn is to stop hanging tempo. Okay, here we go. So next up is Arek, and Arek says, it's my first graduation. Program is well structured. The idea of playing longer games is amazing. I like an idea of dojo tactics where you need to also play your opponent's move. In next cohort, I would like to focus on analyzing games. I bought the dojo book and find the training partner. You guys gotta go check out the dojo book. And I was about to go see if someone had done any new reviews over there. But anyways, the dojo book is out. And here is Arek over here. Boom. Maybe someday I'll become an endgame monster. Now you can see there, Arek has got a really nice heat map going on. Joined late last year and then really started cranking recently on the heat map. So that looks good. Did one tactics test, reasonable. Clubs, European dojo, okay. Activity, and as you can see, just started. What is this endgame monster doing? No, he's doing all this stuff. That's great. Okay, games. We got one game. Bang. So, and here's the game where he says needs to be worked, they say, needs to work on their endgame play. So it's Marina against Ogami Ito. Ogami Ito. There we have the heat map. Let's take a look. Not the heat map, the time graph. And it definitely seems like we are playing a chump that is not thinking. Right? Okay. So, game review. So far, so good. Queen B6. Right. And what's going on is we're hanging the pawn on D5, and white completely misses it and plays bishop C1. No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. Yeah. So queen D4. Okay, now things are getting spicy. Knight D5. Okay, good move. All right. So, snip, snop, king D8. And one of the nice things you note in your notes is that rook B8 is better. And one of the things we should say about rook B8 is the reason it's better is that if the knight checks you on C7, it will lose time, right? And might even have a little bit of grief extricating itself. So that is a noteworthy note that you made. E4, E6, good move. Okay. Slow, but all right. Knight D4, I don't like it. Let's read what you write. I wanted to create outpost by playing means E5 later. On the other hand, this move botched my bishop on C5. That was very active. Now notice, it's a little bit, we're getting the notation squares wrong. It's very common. It's good to drill that down, right? And you write knight G7 was better, knight F6 was better. Totally agree. Got to get those coconuts out. Okay, good. Weird. Poor. I wanted to avoid nasty knight G5, but later when I was analyzing the game, I found a better move. Very nice variation. Boom, boom, boom. So look, general rule of thumb is when you are about to make a pawn move, sometimes you might really find no other way to stop this brutalistic knight G5. But before you give in and say, oh, I got to play H6, you should say to yourself, boss, I'm going to slow it down here for a second, and I'm going to find a better way. So, for example, H6 played in 20 seconds. That's the kind of thinking where you're like, well, I guess I got to play H6. And now he's gained a key tempo. Knight F4, okay. B6. Personally, I want you to play a move like bishop D7 and rook C8. I don't understand bishop D2. It doesn't look right. Notice, yeah, okay. King E7, please. Very nice. A3, okay. Now this is a little funky because they're giving you the b3 square. Good. Bishop e3. e5, bad move. Not only is it losing time, but it's very important to see that you're giving away this key d5 square. So what would have been correctamundo? Some kind of rook move, or if you wanted to get really fancy, you can consider a4 followed by knight a5. You might consider knight e5 touching this coconut, also may be a question. But one of these rook moves is definitely logical. All right, your opponent misses it, king d2. Bishop e6, okay, they should still play knight d5 here. No. And now here, let me show you a grand move here, and that would be fe. Basically to get it back. To get it back. All right, knight d5. Check to the miserable king. Check. Now, there's a question about knight c7. Let's see your analysis. King d6. Here. Bishop e3. Good move. Good move. Okay. Now, you say after the match, I realized why he didn't play this move. He didn't realize that either. He didn't realize that either. Right? They didn't see that. So knight a1, rook a1. Boom, good move. Okay. King c4. Now let's play knight d4 now. Ooh, king d6, that's fine. Fine. Good move. Rook b8. Boom, good move. Good move. A little frisky. Rook f8. I lost concentration, didn't notice that this move loses a pawn and brings white king in a very attractive field. So, you got a number of different moves. The basic one would be rook c8. But even better, I think, is rook here. So if they take here, you've got this move. Good move. Now it's a little bit of grief. Boom, boom. And then we blunder with knight e6, and they say check to the miserable king, and there's all our coconuts. Ooh, man. So you're doing great. You're definitely winning at around this point way over here. Thought you played it well. And some good tactics, also some good analysis. So again, you're giving away time. That's one thing you should be paying attention to. And with this heat map, with the time graph, you just notice these people aren't thinking. So when you give them credit for seeing some stuff, no, this person wasn't thinking at all. Okay. Good. Let's move on. We got two more. Tanjit is up next. Tanjit doesn't say anything. Tanjit, though, says, I'm a chess beginner taking steps to learn more about the game and improving alongside others. Okay. So I believe Tanjit is very new to the dojo, graduated in the wrong cohort, though. See? In the wrong cohort. So Tanjit, if you're watching this, bud, hopefully you can get yourself in the correctamundo cohort. All right, next up, we have Goldsman. And Goldsman says, it's our final graduate of the day. Most important for me is Polgar mates as it improves my pattern recognition. Additionally, I found studying master games both helpful and really interesting. Was happy to graduate with my best result to date, a draw against an opponent rated 1772 in the English rating system. That's great. Okay, let's click on Goldsman over here. And that's a beautiful rating graph. Also very inspiring that you have taken the leap to doing OTB. And let's click this out and look at your heat map real quick. Look at that thing. This is the heat map of a dude who's working. You can see how the graduations here all came a couple months apart. Oh, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 graduations, baby. All right. Oh, that's a beautiful heat map. Look at that thing. So Goldsman, he says he's just started 2 years ago playing some chess, playing some tennis, I mean. So this guy is a hero of the dojo over here, has done some tactics tests, 1127. So that suggests that we're going to see Goldsman graduate again soon. Clubs, European, English, great. And then we got games. Oh, we got a game here. So this will be our final one here. Let's click on this. It's Ben Hughes against Simon Picard, the Wellington Chess Club Championship, the Brown Group. All right. So first of all, do we have times? They're kind of weird. I'll just show it. I don't know. It looks like Goldsman started on this and then it fell apart. It's hard to do it OTB. Very possible, though, to write it on your score sheet and then bring it into the dojo. Okay, so, wait a second. I totally got this wrong. This is like I'll call this an excerpt. The first part is already on the dojo. Oh, okay. I think, let me just check something. We had a sensei question about this, and I think, all right, let me just go back here. I thought there was a sensei question about, in any case, what we're going to do is this is the second part of this, and we're going to do the first part first. Right? First part first. Someone was asking about how to do it. I don't know which forum on Discord they were doing it, but I think I understand we're going to do both. So, does this one have a time graph? It pretty much does. Let's look. This is the most important time graph. You can see both players felt they knew the opening. And then, we're going to slowly drift into time pressure. All right, good. Now, game review. We'll mark this, and then we'll go over here. So, good. Bishop d7. Bishop e2. Now, in my course, I talk about the move bishop d3 and dc here. Bishop e2, fine. I like knight a3 a lot. I think that's a great move. So right now, this is like high-level play, okay? Now, I will say this is hard to play chess this way because what you're doing is you're playing for space. You're playing to squeeze this guy, right? Bishop e7. So now you play b3. And this is what I mean. I think for certain white is better here, but it's not super easy to know how to play it. For example, a plan that would be for space would be rook b1 intending b4, trying to crimp black down. Your move is sensible, but I don't know where your bishop's going yet, see? Rook c8. Bishop b2. Okay. So what you're doing in my head is you are just consolidating the d4 point, castles. And now you played rook c1. Okay. f6. It's actually, I think, a very high-level French game, honestly. So, queen d3. Should you take the thing? I think you should probably take the thing. You could also consider bishop d3. All right, you played here. Snip. Let's read what you write. I took with the knight because I wanted him to have one less attacker, but I also have one less defender. But I feel my other pieces can defend it easier than his can attack it. Maybe pawn takes was better as it doesn't open up the rook. Pawn takes also allows me to keep defending if there is another exchange. Okay, so what I don't like about knight e5 is you have, by the way, I'm about to give you a highfalutin answer. Okay? So that means where you're at, I would be giving this advice like an 1900 player. Okay, and the point is that when you take on e5 with the knight, you help black trade their stuff, and those trades help alleviate the spatial disadvantage that they have. And you can see here that this knight is in the way of the bishop and the rook, and you just freed both of those pieces for black. So that's the abstract reason that pawn takes would be better. a6, trying to nail you with bishop b5. And now you played king h1, and this is going to allow black to trade off their bad bishop. So probably correctamundo would be knight d4. Okay. Now it's a little bit scary. Snip, snap, and bishop c5. In principle, the correct move. Black is fighting for this key blockading square. Bishop a3. Okay. Now black gets frisky and plays knight d4. Notice that the simple way for them to play would just be to take and claim that your knight is incredibly misplaced, which would be true, right? Okay, so knight d4, and you said, all right, I'm going to take that. Okay, I think that's good. So, forced, and now you defend the knight, rook cd1. Let me suggest that a stronger move, I think, would be snickos, hickos, and queen g4. And we're touching this coconut. And let's just assume king f7 for a moment. Then we come back, and then we got these kinds of coconut touches happening, and we might be able to gain an attack against the black king. Bishop c5. Knight f3. Okay. Rook f4. Good move. That's frisky. All right. Rook c6 was played. Queen d2. Okay. Black is just moving around. They have lost their mind. That's no good. So snip, snap, and now we get this interesting endgame. I think you're winning a pawn with knight d4. Let's see. You say this is equal. Let me just say, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. It looks like if I'm black, I'm concerned. I'm concerned. c5, knight e6, and now you say rook f5 question mark. I think you want him to play rook e8, right? But it's still hectic after rook e8 because then you have knight c7 touching his pawns. So I think you're better. Rook f5 and now definitely f4. What I want you to see about f4 is not just that you're protecting the pawn, but you're making this rook really sad about his lifestyle choices, right? And what do we want? We want to start pushing him, baby. Push, baby, push. Let's go. So good annotations. Okay. Bishop a3. Notice now our knight is a little bit unhappy. All right. g3. Now I'm scared. Here black has a choice between trying to trap your knight and playing something like rook e2. He gets frisky with this one here. Rook e2 would be like the simple person's way of playing chess. He's trying to go for the gold. I don't know. You either get it that night or you don't get that night. All right, knight v8. Yeah, I like, you say maybe something like rook d2 was stronger. You mean rook d1, but it does allow rook e1. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense. d4, knight c6. Okay. Rook e2, okay. Rook d1, this doesn't make any sense to me. So, Injun Bashminjun, what I want you to see here is that it's about activity, and Rook d1 doesn't do anything, okay? So, Rook d1, Rook a2. Now, let's just stress on a principle level, the reason Rook f2 is so much more powerful is because the Rook then has what we call the absolute 7th rank. That means El Kingo cannot get out-o, and then he's hosed. So you correctly bring this out, and now we have an interesting situation. And I think now is where we go to the second game. All right, so this is the second game. And here we go. Oh, yeah, we're still correct, though. We're still correct, though. Don't lose your mind here, Jesse. So, Bishop b4. King f3. Now, this looks like a blunder. Because, no, don't call it a blunder. I take it back. It's fine. h6, I'm not sure I get it. h4, I'm not certain g5 was a threat. Okay. h5, I kind of like it. g4, I kind of like it. King d5. And now king f4. Other options are king g3, king g2. King g3 wasn't very helpful because king was out of the action. King g2 is probably the best. Now, I'm confused why you're saying king f4 was a mistake, though. Yeah, why is king f4 a mistake? Looks right to me. Maybe I'm missing something. Okay. By the way, you're talking about semi-equalized. Who knows who's better now? This is like better player's going to win. Snip, you got to take. Rook d1, okay. When the rook goes, doesn't matter too much. Here there are too many errors in the rest of the game to analyze. Basically, I ended up sacrificing the knight for the passed pawn, traded the rooks, traded one pair of the g and h pawn, ended up with king. Okay. As I knew, h1 and a dark square bishop was a draw to the bishop being a different color to a promotion square. So this is my best result to date. Okay. Now, by the way, this position, well, I would describe it as very hectic. You know, because if he loses a coconut there, like on g7, it's still a thing. Now, let me just say, let's go back to this endgame. Okay, a couple things I want you to be sensitive to. Main one is that the rook on d3 is passive. It doesn't have an active role at the moment. I don't know what the best move is here for white, but something I would consider would be rook f3. And the point there would be to cut the king, and if he tagged my knight to come around this way, where the knight has a nice blockading situation. Is it a hectic endgame? It is, but it's just as hectic for him as it is for you, right? So king f3, I think some kind of king f7 is called for. So h6, maybe, but I don't, we need a plan, right? We need a plan. And to me, the nice one would be king f4, let's say king f7, king e5. And then you got to sincerely ask who's better and why. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's black. You know, I don't think it's black. Now he's going to get to d5, which is going to make me concerned, right? c4. You give it a question mark. I don't know why it's wrong. And, you know, d3 could be a sample variation, and it's hot. You know, it's simply hot. You can think about king f5. You can think about king e5. Oh, and let's just say what happened is he ended up trading everything off and leaving black with this pawn and this bishop. And when you got that situation, he can't beat you because he's got the wrong color. So that was deep endgame knowledge for Ben Hughes here to get this draw. Okay, MC Clan, thank you for subscribing. I'm going to get out of here. I got things to do. We got a dojo meeting coming up and yada, yada. Lots of vids going on. Sorry about the show getting stopped for a second. I don't know. I'm going to be back on Wednesday and Thursday. For Wednesday will be under 1,000 show again. And Thursday will be 1,000 plus. Let's actually just briefly look what the lineup is looking like for that. Oh no, we already have 33, dude. Like I said, the dojo's growing, which is a great thing, but I don't know how much my mind is going to be able to deal with it. All right, my friends, I will talk to you soon. We got to raid somebody.